Now, my privilege to invite Gugu Ndebele up. Just while she comes on, we'll be interviewing her. The interesting thing, so Gugu is the executive director of the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. She's also the former chief executive officer of Save the Children SA. So she has a phenomenal background, passionate about education, passionate about pupils. And I'm going to be just interviewing her just to get some of her input. So Gugu, you are on stage. Thank you. It is fantastic having you live with us.
Thank you very much, Peter, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Brilliant. Gugu, I'm going to jump in with a big question. I know, so you are from the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy. So you are in a unique position that you are a school that has funding, but you are mostly working with learners from poorer backgrounds. During this period and what we've been happening now with school closure, what have these learners been facing? What have they been experiencing?
Thank you, Peter. I think the first thing is anxiety. And I don't think it's unique to our learners, because actually our learners are the majority of learners in South Africa. They come from poor families. So all of them are anxious. They're anxious because they don't know what's happening with the disease itself. And I think, like your last speaker was saying, at first they thought it was a joke and masks, but as more numbers grow and more people die, it's becoming real. I think the second thing is the unknown. They don't know whether they're going back to school, they're ever going to go back to school. The matriculants are wondering if this is really their final matric year or they'll have another year, back at school. And I think the last thing is just balancing our expectations of them as we support them from home with their family environment. Because if they're from poor backgrounds, chances are there's 10 of them in a home. At the time that you want to do online teaching, someone is playing music, the next door neighbors have been on it since 12 midnight. So, the noise, and the mother says you are home, you need to wash dishes. So they're balancing all of that and trying to make sure that the teachers are happy. So it's a very stressful time for our learners.
Okay. Gugu, follow-up question on that is, how's your school, how are other schools adapting to face this challenge?
One of the things that I think I've appreciated being part of the ISASA network, the Independent Schools Association, is that we are connected. Because the best thing that has happened to all of us is that we've created those networks. So you don't feel lonely. You don't feel, you do feel stress, because stress is what's going to happen when you're in this position. You've got other people that are going through the same thing that you're going through, but some of them are far ahead of you, some of them are up behind. So the value of networks is important. So that's how we're coping. But secondly, communication. There's never been a time where you needed communication more than this time. With the parents, with your teachers, with your staff, with everyone else, so that you're all on the same page. But lastly for me, Peter, is being kind to yourself. All of us, we're struggling. So you need to be kind and understand that we're learning as we go. So we need to be agile, but don't beat yourself up if a decision you've made is not what you thought it was going to be, and it turns pear-shaped. It is what it is. Just make sure that the next time you factor that into your next decision. So be kind to yourself.
I love that. I love that. So Gugu, we have a lot of school suppliers that are looking in, and all of them have a service or a product that they are desperate to give to your school and other schools out there. How would you advise in this period now, how would you advise they approach you? What are the tips that you have that you can give them to kind of get your attention, to get other principals' attention? Any kind of thoughts and ideas and tips on how they could approach you?
Yeah, the best place I can answer this from is from my perspective, because I know they've got other skills that they have, which I don't have. But what I've always found, firstly, is that people must not approach the name of the school. They must approach the school. So, because the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls, already people are seeing dollars. And it's not helpful because they're not doing research on, you've made a contrasting context that much as we have funding, we're dealing with the most disadvantaged. And in fact, what we deal with is sometimes worse than what other schools are dealing with. And so when you approach us, understand that we don't have, I'm not Oprah, so I don't have that money. I have a board that approves the budget. And so firstly, so get to know what OLEG needs as a school. What are its challenges? Where can you best come in? And secondly, also understand that we do our own research. We do our own research. So don't approach us as, at the moment we have everyone that has started a gadget yesterday, they're selling it to schools. And I think for me, it's the values of that are out of order because we're servicing your children. So if you're selling us something that is not kosher, you are not compromising just the school, you're compromising children. So be authentic in the way that you approach schools, but also be prepared to engage just to know the school. Don't come with a product that you've already decided is going to work and you've got this PowerPoint presentation that makes me dizzy, because that's the one thing that's not going to make me buy it. So get to know the schools, understand the challenges, understand the audience, and it's your first foot in. And then after that, it's conversations.
I really like that, Gugu. I think to me, as a salesperson, it's so easy to go in and sell, and you sell something that the school will never buy because they don't need it. But if you can understand what they need, you can see if your product can meet them. So I think that is a fantastic tip. Gugu, just to follow up on that, what do you believe are going to be the biggest needs for schools when it comes to procurement in the next 12 months? What products and services are schools going to need?
Just before I get to that, I wanted to say also be patient with us. Understand that, at the school level, you've got so many things coming at you. This is the worst time for schools because they're listening to the minister, of basic education. They're trying to figure out what higher education is saying, the learners, the parents. So be patient, even when we, say, no, we're not interested. We're probably interested. We just can't deal with you at that point in time. I think for me, there are three areas that I think from where I'm sitting are going to be the greatest, where the greatest need is. I think the one you've spoken about throughout the day, it is about remote learning and what that comes with. I think we're beginning to realize that going into the future, that's going to be the norm. We talk all the time with my colleagues that even now, whether the children come back to school or not, chances are most schools are going to have dual delivery. They're going to have face-to-face, but also they're going to have online learning. The second thing is around health and safety. It's amazing how COVID-19 has focused. All of us thought we were complying and we were doing everything that we need to, but we're ticking boxes. And I think what COVID-19 has done is to really make us dig deep into what is going to be needed to ensure that the schools are safe. Because my thing is that it's COVID-19, it was 19 now, it was SARS the other time, it was N1H1, it was mumps. So there'll always be something that comes and you need to be ready for it. Yeah. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, I think what is not taken seriously is psychosocial support. We place a lot of emphasis on psychosocial support because of the target audience of our learners. But here's the thing. We were tested when they were remote because it's easier when they're here. So now you need to be able to find technologies and facilities that are going to make sure that the learners, wherever they are regulated. The teachers, where they're able to regulate themselves so that they're able to reach new knowledge. So how do we make psychosocial support to move from the physical of the psychologist to something that other people, that children can access wherever they are, that teachers can access? So those for me are the top three.
Awesome. Gugu, we literally have 1 more minute left, but I want to ask this question because I think it's something that you might be able to speak into. So within the country, we're in a dire situation, but what do you believe is possible for education in this country?
I'm like you, Peter. I'm an optimist.
Come on.
I'm an optimist. I think, for the first time, we have government being forced to deliver services that they haven't been delivering the past 20-something years that they've been in government. So that for me is the greatest positive out of all of this. Where there hasn't been water, we've seen tanks going in there in a space of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But secondly, I think the growth, the reach, at the moment we rely on face-to-face, but can you imagine if you get remote learning right, how many children will be able to reach and reduce the levels of literacy, illiteracy in this country. So for me, the possibilities of technology and reach and ensuring that every child, wherever they are, they receive quality education are what I think is going to come out of this period.
Come on, Gugu. Thank you for brightening our day. You like that picture behind, which I mentioned the other day, which I love. You are like a bright, you just have such a way of bringing kind of hope. And thank you. I think what you are doing within this country, just with your education of those that need it, and just kind of breaking open new opportunities for other schools is absolutely amazing. So thank you for brightening our day. Thank you for coming online and sharing with us. We really appreciated your input and thoughts. Thank you.